Long time no see, Johnny.
You're still here.
I never left to begin with, fool. I was trapped in that TV for nearly 3 years. When your friend hijacked the TV, I saw an opportunity I didn't have before.
You seriously couldn't get out of the TV for that long?
That's not what matters at the moment.
You could have killed me while I was unconscious, and yet here I am, alive and well on my futon. What is it? Performance anxiety or something?
Shut your face! I've been around here long enough to realize that every time I attempt to take your life, something, whether it's an explosion, a falcon punch, or something as mundane as turning a TV off, stops me from doing so.
So, is this attempt number 4?
On the contrary, I'm not even going to try. Perhaps it's fate or because I'm just that ineffective. The point is, I'm through trying to kill you. After tonight, I shall depart forever.
Then let me go already! Jesus! I'm supposed to go back to Castlevania. Oh no, 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 no!
However, I couldn't help but notice when you panicked like a little chicken shit when Mega Man 7 made you think of Ghosts N Goblins. Bad memories, John? Does this game upset you?
This game is fucking impossible!
I'm not going to kill you, but rest assured, I will make you suffer before I take my leave. I don't know what is it about this game you loathe, but I'm not leaving until you complete it. Best of luck, John. I'll be watching.
Fuck. Why these 2 games? Ghosts N Goblins is notorious for being one of the most, if not the most, difficult game on the NES. I've never gotten remotely close to beating it. But that was years ago. Maybe I've gotten better with age? Fuck it. It's not like I'm going anywhere anyway. Let's give it a shot. Alright. This is Ghosts N Goblins on the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Ay, what the hell did I get myself into? Ghosts N Goblins is the creation of Capcom and was originally an arcade game released in 1985. In 1986, the game saw a lot of ports, including a version on the Commodore 64, the Amiga, and perhaps most famously, the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Please crap out on me.
Not gonna happen, Johnny.
The game starts with our hero, Sir Arthur, enjoying the night out with Princess Prin. Before the two can get it on, which I'm thinking is the reason why Arthur is wearing nothing but a red Speedo, the princess is captured by a flying demon the game classifies as Satan. Don't you hate it when you get cock-blocked by the Prince of Darkness himself? Arthur suits up and it's off through 6 different areas, ending with a showdown between Arthur and the big bad of this game, Astaroth. In case it wasn't obvious at this point, I can't fucking stand this game. Many of you may know why, but let's assume some of you don't and run down a list. Let's start with the minor things first. This game looks fucking ugly. Yes, even for NES standards. The characters and enemy sprites are a bit too simple for my taste. The environments, while creepy at times, are rather barren. The frame rate is constantly chugging throughout the entire adventure, and don't even get me started on the large amount of sprite flickering I encountered. I know I can't be too critical considering the time of release and the system, but I couldn't help but be distracted by the presentation overall. I wouldn't call this aging gracefully. Then there's the fucking control. Like the Belmonts in the classic Castlevania series, Arthur can't steer left or right when he jumps. If you don't have good timing, or judgment for that matter, your ass is either getting hit or falling down a bottomless pit. That's assuming, of course, the game responds to your button inputs in the first place, because I counted many times when I pressed the button on the controller and Arthur did jack shit. What happened there? I was hitting the jump button. Why would I feel the need to just careen off of a damn cliff? Was I too close to the edge? Arthur can crouch to avoid incoming projectiles or attack at a lower altitude, but you can't resume moving from a crouching position. You need to release the down button and then press right on the D-pad to get Arthur going again. I know that doesn't sound like a big deal, but play the game yourself and see how many times you get killed when Arthur just crouches there like a moron in the heat of battle. Arthur attacks by throwing an unlimited supply of javelins. Think of it like Mega Man's Mega Buster, only his firing rate is nowhere near as fast unless you're at point blank range of the target. Every once in a while, you can get different weapons by picking them up from defeated enemies, or by discovering secret spots to stand on, which causes weapons to spontaneously appear. For the sake of time, I'll just say that the only weapon that should ever matter is the knife. It's fast, you can shoot it fast, and it pretty much shits on the javelin just about every way possible. In this game, in addition to needing godlike reflexes, you need to dish out as much pain as you possibly can in a very short amount of time. The other weapons aren't downright horrible, they just don't compare. The fire is good for taking out unicorns but almost nothing else, the throwing axe just feels like a weaker version of the fireball to me, and the less I say about the shield weapon the better, but we'll get back to that in a second. But even when you're equipped with your weapon of choice, nothing will prepare you for what will probably be the most difficult game you ever played on the NES, maybe in your entire life. Oh yeah, the game is that fucking hard. Arthur can only afford to get hit once. Get hit one more time after that, and you're reduced to a pile of bones. God damn. So what kind of threats are we dealing with here? Oh, I don't know. Everything. There's only 6 stages, well 7 if you're including the final boss room, but this game will feel like it goes on for an eternity with the amount of death you will suffer from. This isn't Mega Man 1, this isn't Zelda 2, this isn't even the Lost Levels, this is Ghosts N Goblins, and the game will make you remember its name. Let's say you do adjust to the game's clunky controls. That won't stop the onslaught of enemies from making absolute mincemeat of poor Sir Arthur. The pain commences as soon as the first fucking stage, where zombies will spawn in places you really don't want them to be, ghosts that can pop up at a moment's notice, or maybe it's a stray bullet from that plant enemy you didn't notice until it was too late. One of the largest contributing factors of this game's downright bullshit difficulty is the randomness factor of enemy encounters. Certain enemies will always show up at specific intervals, but other enemies like the zombies in stage 1, the white demons in stage 2, or these godforsaken ghosts can just show up whenever they fucking please. There's no trial and error when it comes to getting past these abominations, it's all fucking luck based. Shit like that is going to happen to you all of the damn time. Of course, it's more than just zombies, white demons, and ghosts. How about those ogres in stage 2 that take forever to kill? How about those bluebirds that are constantly pestering you while you're trying to kill said ogres? What about those little blue imps that are questionably hard to hit at times? How about those fucking red devils? Holy shit! The one creature that'll make you despise Arthur's stiff control is these assholes. They're big, they can take some punishment, and worst of all, they're fucking fast and relentless. Guess what though? You run into one as soon as the first stage! Isn't that fantastic? Oh, and stage 3? Chock full of these motherfuckers, and you can't avoid them unless they somehow manage to off-screen themselves. Don't count on that though, it rarely happens. Jesus Christ!
When did the developers finally slap some fucking sense into the enemy designer and to tell them just to fucking stop?
Compounding the dick-headed enemy design is the overall level design. Basic platforming can be a challenge in of itself because of Arthur's control, and most of the time the game forces you to deal with platforming sections in conjunction with those enemies you love to hate. Not to mention the instances where you pretty much have to make leaps of faith. Look at this, where the fuck am I supposed to go? Down? Left? I don't know what's down there, but I can't take too long because there's also a time limit. Just why? Arthur has a limited amount of lives, but for this game you have an unlimited amount of continues, as well as checkpoints that you restart on even after getting a game over. I think by the time I got to this area I was at continue number 94. If you keep going at it, then I guess you'll eventually beat the game, but what's the fun in that kind of shit? Beating a game shouldn't just be conquering the law of averages. Every time I complete a level in this game, there's no celebration or fist pumps to be had, just a fucking sigh of relief that it's finally over.
Enjoying yourself,
Eat
Johnny?
a dick, you sick muppet!
Come now, you finally reached the final level. You got this far. Surely you can go the distance.
Have you even played this game before? I'd rather play Sonic 06 than slog through this unholy piece of programming.
That's sure to offend someone.
Nah, who cares?
The final 2 levels can seriously go fuck themselves, especially level 6. These stages, unlike the previous 4, don't have any checkpoints whatsoever. They're marathons. And do you know what it feels like to constantly die at the very last possible moment, forcing you to deal with the entire stage all over again?
It's not pleasant.
No, let me rephrase that. It fucking sucks! It sucks! The enemy placement in level 6 is without a doubt the most horrendous thing I've ever witnessed and experienced in a video game. Worse than Mega Man and Bass, worse than the Metropolis Zone's unholy trio. It's got them all beat. Ghosts that respawn at random locations, rematches with unicorns, dragons, ghosts that respawn at random locations, ogres shifting left and right with red devils awaiting at the end of each tower, hopping skeletons, ghosts that respawn in random locations, a double battle with 2 Satans, and ghosts that respawn in random locations! Out of all of the enemies you encounter in level 6, it is the goddamn ghost that made me lose every ounce of sanity I had left at this point of the game. Even when you try your damnedest to be as careful as you possibly can, trying your best to avoid projectiles, knowing where to jump to restock your broken armor, there's always that chance that a ghost could fucking blindside you by spawning directly in front of you, or when you're climbing a ladder where you can't defend yourself in the slightest. But that's not all. Let's talk about that shield item I mentioned earlier. You need to beat level 6 with the shield item equipped, which starts randomly dropping from enemies with pots starting at level 5. Otherwise, the game will tell you to fuck off, get the shield, and boot you back to the beginning of level 5. What the fuck? Why the previous level? It's not like it's impossible to get the shield in level 6. In fact, one always spawns on the floor where you have a rematch with the dragon boss. Even then, say you do get the shield in level 5, that won't mean shit as soon as you begin level 6, because the first boss you encounter in that stage is the unicorn, who by the way, is immune to the shield weapon! That's precisely why they put this javelin weapon right before you fight him in the first place! The fact that you need the shield weapon to even beat level 6 is just plain horse shit! True, it's good at blocking projectiles, and I don't find its poor range to be that much of a hindrance, but if you accidentally pick up another weapon during the climb, which the game tries to make you do twice by the way, guess what? You're fucked! Only thing left to do is die, refight the unicorn with the javelin, defeat the dragon with the shield because it's immune to the javelin, and hope to God you make it through the climb with the ogres, the red devils, the respawning ghosts, and the 2 satans! Oh, fuck!
Titan sentient squealing! Aren't you finished yet? You've been on this one level for nearly 3 hours!
You want me to beat this stage? Okay, I'll beat this stage. It's taken me hours to finally get a pattern down, but I got it all figured out. Use back jumps to score fast hits on the unicorn, lure the dragon to the previous floor and wipe his ass out with the shield, grab the hidden armor in case you took a hit, lure the ogre to the left side to avoid alerting the red devil on the right, pray that your reflexes are good enough to take out the inevitable red devil encounter on the floor above, and then deal with the ogre. Focus on one Satan at a time and jump at the right moment to avoid them making a beeline towards Arthur. 2 Satans, 8 hits apiece, 16 hits later, and...
The final battle with Astaroth is nothing compared to what you had to go through to reach him. Arthur can't even change direction, meaning it's easy to score a ton of hits when attacking him. And if you somehow die, this is where you restart- oh fuck!
Wait, what does this mean?
The room was an illusion and trapped to visit by Satan. I need to go ahead dauntlessly and make rapid progress.
You have to play the entire game again?
Yep, you have to play the game twice in order to save the princess, and the second round is more difficult than the first, meaning more enemy encounters like those squealing ghosts you like so much.
The princess can enjoy spending her time in hell. Move on to the next game. Anything to avoid that never-ending squealing.
You're the boss.
Super Ghouls N Ghosts. Between these 2 games, this is the one I'm most familiar with. I recall running this game in the mid-90s and not making much progress, but after playing this atrocity of a game, could this be any worse? Short answer, no. In fact, this game has aged better than I thought it was going to. Princess Prin is once again kidnapped, this time by the likes of Emperor Sardius, and Arthur once again heads off to rescue her. Arthur is about as mobile as he was in the original game, stiff jump and everything, but here he can actually perform a double jump, and his overall control feels more responsive than the NES game. There's still times when the platforming is a bit on the tight side, but for the most part, Arthur can tackle most of these kinds of challenges comfortably. The level design is nowhere near as bullshit as before, so every time I suffer a death, it feels like it's my fault and not because of poor structure or enemy placement. Don't get me wrong, the game will still challenge you. It's hard. Very hard actually, but it's not, nor does it feel, impossible. Reflexes will be tested, stage hazards will come in all sorts of flavors, and some returning enemies will drive you crazy. But the difference here is that this game actually feels fair in terms of its challenge. You can choose how many lives you can start with, the overall difficulty of the adventure, and while there's no unlimited continues, getting extra ones is so ridiculously easy that they might as well be unlimited. Then we have actual power-ups. When you jump or travel on a specific area, a treasure chest will emerge from the ground which could hold a new weapon for Arthur to use, or upgrades for his armor, which doesn't grant him extra hits, but it does power up his weapons to badass proportions. The knife is once again a fantastic weapon to use, but the new crossbow weapon is also an ideal choice for dishing out a lot of pain, and when you use the upgraded version when you upgrade your armor, it can home in on targets and make them your bitch, even the returning red devils. Fucking assholes.
You know, I always dreaded the day I had to return to this game, but after playing the first game, this game feels like a fucking godsend.
That is until you come across those very frustrating moments the game peppers throughout the adventure. Having Arthur pimped out in a golden armor that allows him to do super attacks, only to lose at the moment he collides with an oncoming enemy. The rare occasion where, jeez, things like that can happen. Opening a treasure chest only to find a wizard lurking inside that could temporarily transform you into something like a defenseless baby. Accidentally picking up a weapon you didn't mean to get either because of an ill-timed jump or knockback. Ugh. But with the inclusion of power-ups that actually mean something, reasonable level design, just less shit to deal with overall, there's a sense of accomplishment here that I feel didn't exist in the NES game. There's not just a sigh of relief when I see the level's boss go up in flames, there's a feeling of satisfaction too.
Unbelievable. You're actually enjoying yourself with this one?
Well, some people tend to think I exaggerate the difficulty with certain games, but In this case, it's just not as hard as I remembered it to be.
When you reach the end of the game, you have a rematch with Astaroth from the first game, which thanks to the likes of the crossbow and whatnot, goes down with no problem. However, because of some sickening sense of tradition, Princess Prin will telepathically inform Arthur that his current power is no match for Emperor Sardius, and that he'll need the power of her bracelet to stand a chance. How do you get the bracelet? You gotta play the game over again. Not only that, but the bracelet is an item drop that may pop out of a chest at one point or another. So not only do you have to play the game twice, you need to make sure you beat the second encounter with Astaroth with the bracelet item equipped. Just like the fucking shield weapon in the first game. Unlike the last game, I have no issue replaying the game again for the sake of getting the actual ending, even though the design philosophy is just utterly ass backwards in the first place. Seriously, why do you need to beat the game twice? I mean, besides tradition at this point. The second run through doesn't feel any more difficult than the first time, and the whole bracelet fiasco doesn't come into play until the final level, where the game suddenly decides to omit a brick wall in terms of how the stage needs to be handled if you want to reach Astaroth with a bracelet weapon. First off, the bracelet item will only appear inside a treasure chest if Arthur is fully maxed out with armor upgrades. This means finding a chest with the weapon inside it, finding the next chest with the green armor, finding the next chest with the gold armor, finding the other chest with the shield upgrade, and finally opening the final chest with the bracelet tucked inside. This means you essentially have to complete level 6 and reach Astaroth by doing a no damage run. If at any point you take a hit before getting the bracelet, you're not getting it. The next chest will most likely contain a trickster or just standard armor. The home stretch before reaching the boss can be utter hell because it's here where you can get the bracelet item after maxing out on everything else. But the room is filled with infinitely spawning ghosts and the bracelet itself takes forever to materialize after breaking open the chest. Fuck! But even when you manage to reach Astaroth, killing him in his second form with the bracelet is next to fucking impossible. It's pretty much just a slightly stronger version of your default javelin weapon and its rate of fire is just bad. You have to have mad reflexes and a stroke of luck to beat both forms of Astaroth with this weapon, and if you die, it's back to the beginning of the stage with you. You get to keep the bracelet item, but unless you don't mind holding onto it throughout the trek through level 6, the journey just got a whole lot more painful. It's possible to do, but what's really disappointing here is the game completely throwing its fair challenge out of the goddamn window for the sake of paying homage to the first game. This alone makes replaying the game twice for the real ending not worth it.
I'm not leaving until you complete
I heard you the first time. It's just... You ever had a game that you found yourself actually enjoying until that one point at the end of the game that makes you hate the experience overall? This is fucked up. For fuck's sake, die already! There! Yes! Booyah! In your face, you fucking jerk!
You're not finished yet, fool. There's still Emperor Sardius.
Emperor Sardius is an absolute joke, just like Astaroth in the first game. He only has one attack that's very easy to dodge, and he never puts that huge body to use. With a few bracelet shots to the face, Emperor Sardius explodes, and Princess Prin is saved.
This can't be. I was sure you would go mad from playing these two games back to back.
Well, the first game certainly made me mad, but sometimes you can't completely judge a game until you play it for yourself. With that said, fuck Ghosts N Goblins. Don't play this. It's so fucking hard to the point where it just sucks 8-bit ass. Super Ghouls N Ghosts is definitely the better pick of the two, but I wouldn't recommend trying to get the real ending. It's not worth anything but bragging rights.
I waited 3 years to get my vengeance on you.
Just get out of here. Go haunt some helpless 5-year-old who reads too many internet ghost stories.
Very well. But there is one more game you will play before our deal is done.
Oh, come on. You said you would go after playing these two games.
Oh, you're not gonna play this game now. When the time is right, you'll know. Until then, I look forward to our last meeting, Johnny. Tell your brother I said hello. Oh, and tell your other brother to suck it.